Good evening, everyone. This is Nigi Adewale, host of the Akaba Home Financial Freedom Mastermind Group, and I'm pumped to be joining you on the Wednesday before Thanksgiving. And man, there's a lot to be thankful for. I got to say that this year has been incredible. This has been the first full year from January till the end of the year in full time real estate as a 1099. And yes, it's been a lot. It's been a lot of running around and a lot of figuring stuff out, but it's truly been a blessing this year. And I can't wait to see what 2024 has in store. I hope that you guys have been doing well as well. And so tonight is going to be an open session. We're going to be canceling next week's call just because we got the holidays kind of coming up. And tonight we're going to be joined by a crowd favorite, my co-pilot here, Liban. How you doing?
I'm doing quite well, thank you.
Come on now.
Happy early Thanksgiving.
Happy early Thanksgiving. What are you thankful for this year, man? I know there's been a lot of change, a lot going on. We've been running around like crazy trying to make it happen, but what's something that you're thankful for?
Well, first, overall, I think officially this, year was the first year I started working with you. So thanks for the opportunity.
Come on now.
Thankful for kind of all the blessings I've received this year overall in real estate in general. Thankful for kind of my family for supporting. They've been having my back, which I appreciate. So overall, just kind of, I'm thankful for everything I got. I have not had any losses, only wins so far. So that's been great.
Hey, literally, and I love the attitude because having that type of gratitude and thankfulness in your heart, there's only more blessings that are going to come to you. And I'm thankful to have you as our most senior member of the team, closing and crushing it out there. Also thankful for this year because this is the first full year in real estate, right? Like, every other year was kind of doing a mixture of the W-2 and real estate, but being full-time 1099 has been a whirlwind, but it's been truly rewarding. And it's crazy how many more opportunities come your way just out of nowhere. Like just because you can go to lunch on a Tuesday. It's like, okay,
Yeah.
It's not an issue anymore.
Yep. No. I kind of wanted to ask you, because we never really had that conversation. What was the driving factor that said, you know what, I'm ready. I can quit the W-2. I can finally do the full thing. What kind of drove you to that?
Man, so this is an awesome question. And there's a couple things. One, when I was with Baxter, right, my former company, I did a lot of different roles. And I found that I really like being a hunter, right? So when I was in Boston, I was selling the medical devices, and that was fun. Like we closed some big deals. I started getting some recognition, and all the individuals, hospitals would start coming to us because they just knew us. They're like, oh, you closed the one over at Partners, so can we work with you? And so if I could take that whole territory down here, I'd probably still be doing that. But I wanted to get back closer with family. And so I took a promotion to move into a director role. And the director role is the complete opposite. You're not on the ground. You are getting beat up by like the hospital leaders over stuff that you can't control, like supply, like, hey, there's shortage. I'm like, dude, I can't do anything here, but I got to eat the bullets. And so it became such that I knew I needed to get out. I was like, you know what? I want to get into full-time real estate. Now, the original goal was to make that happen by the end of 2025, right? I did not see that happening in 2022 when we set the goal. Yeah. But what accelerated it was, one, closing a couple more deals as a realtor, right? Getting up to a run rate of about 2 closings a month, which was awesome. As a solo realtor, that was cool. And then two, the short-term rental management. That was the real piece. Like that was something I didn't even factor into the numbers. And when that took off and we went from managing just, 3 or 4 to 15, and now there's X amount coming in consistently per month, I took a look at the overall picture. And I said, you know what? If we were to focus on this full time, like what could that mean? Could we thrive out here? Could we bet on ourselves and build something? And that was kind of how it came to be.
No. Okay. Oh, no. Awesome. Okay. And then a follow-up question, since you've kind of been doing it, what has been your most fun deal that you've done this year so far? We still got one month left, but maybe something crazy will happen. But yeah, so far this year, what's been the best deal you've had that you said?
And you're saying personally or for a client?
Personal. Yeah. Once we get to New Year's, we'll ask for the clients. You know, once we get there, we'll ask
Okay, you froze for a second. And you said personally or for a
personally,
client?
personally for yourself. Once we get
Personally.
the New Year's, we'll do the client because we'll have a full, you know.
A full year. Yeah, yeah. Because hey, there's
You
some
never
crazy
know.
ones
You
right
never
now that are
know.
going
Yeah,
on.
exactly. We got the good deals right now.
Hey, personally, it's one that I'm working on right now, right? Like, and I think we're gonna close it. Today's Wednesday. I think we're gonna close it on Friday. We just
Nice.
got the numbers back. I'm pumped on it.
Okay.
But it's a deal where I'm essentially gonna be able to not put anything down, have a note. It's gonna be a creative finance deal. So have not done one of these in a super long time, right? So it's gonna be a creative finance deal where I can take over a home that's a short-term rental, take over the mortgage payment,
Mhm.
have a bit of a note that's due above and beyond the mortgage, but I don't got to
Mhm.
make any payments and it's only due in 36 months. And so the reason it doesn't work for this investor is they have to pay for everything else, like the management of us managing it and all this other stuff. We're
Mhm.
going to be able to take that cost really down to net zero, make some money on this thing. And then 3 years from now, I have no doubt that it's going to be worth more and sell it. So that's one I'm super excited about.
Nice.
Um, I'd say that's the most creative one. The one I was most excited about though, like super, was the 4 unit because I'm like, hey,
Yeah.
we can get 4 units,
Yeah.
but creatively, I like this one. This is
Nice.
hitting all the marks.
Nice. Okay. Cool.
Coming to you though, like the question you asked initially was awesome, right? And I'd love to hear your thoughts too. Like what made you? Because I know when you joined the team, you were still working, multiple jobs and making this happen.
Yeah.
And so, what made
Yeah.
you move full time into this and say, "Hey, I'm going to bet on myself"?
So I have always been, I say, frugal, but really it's cheap, And so I keep my expenses to nothing. I don't buy clothes. I don't buy nothing. Like this is my aunt's what I'm wearing right now, So because of that, I really didn't need that much to like keep myself alive, feed myself, etc. To tell you, kind of when I was working as a server, I was pulling in like 700 a week, right? So I kind of sat there and I said, okay, well I'm pulling like 700 a week as a server, and I'm doing it part time. If I were to just dedicate that time, you know, I can probably get the money back. And thankfully it did. And I even said to myself, even when I quit, like let's say I quit a little too early, I always had, thankfully we live in a gig economy now. So I could, if I need like a quick $100, I can Uber one night, for 4 hours and get $100. I can, do odd work for someone and find work because I'm always pretty good about stuff like that. So keeping myself alive was really just food, my bills, and like because I live so cheaply, there wasn't much overhead, which is kind of the overall blessing in general. Because as long as I'm keeping that down now, all the money I'm making, I've been able to just kind of throw at, okay, let me try this thing and let me try this thing. So now when I started actually generating profit and I was looking at it like, oh, I'm netting way more than I'm spending and I'm not paycheck to paycheck anymore, I can test out different stuff and see, okay, does this thing work? Does that thing work? And so because of that, I was able to kind of just throw stuff out and see what's working because I had so little risk. And I kind of said to myself, hey, Liban, you're 22, you don't have kids, no one's dependent upon you. This is the time, you know?
Honestly, dude, like that mindset and understanding, hey, this is a superpower, right?
Yeah.
To be able to not have these quote unquote obligations, to be able to
Mhm.
keep your expenses low. Because what
Mhm.
happens with most people is as soon as they get
Yeah.
whatever money coming in, it's like, oh, I need to go take this vacation or go blow this, and it's like, guys, no, like what you said is a hard thing to do to keep the expenses low and
Yeah.
really start to invest that piece. I guess my question is, what's the next step? Like, what are you looking to do in 2024 that's going to take you to the next level, not just from income, but for the income working for you?
Yeah. So buying a house, that's a big one, right?
Mm-hmm.
Now, I'm kind of partnered up. I got this remodeling stuff going on, kind of growing and expanding that is a big deal too. I got a couple of my friends. I'm like, guys, let me teach you a cold call. I'll split the fee, da da da. So I got them calling up some agents, hey, and I told them, you're not doing anything on Tuesday. Let's use 3 of those hours. I'll give you, if you get me a job, I'll give you $300. And they're like, 300. That's my, that's bill money, So kind of leveraging my friends too in that fact of, hey, you guys are not doing nothing. Let's use our youth to our advantage, And so that's kind of been a big one. And then also kind of overall just kind of leveling up now my transactions. I got the confidence. And one of the things that kind of has helped me is everyone that's older than me that's in the game has been like, dude, you're killing it, keep going. So every time I'm like, hey, I don't know, the imposter syndrome comes in, I always say, these guys who are way smarter than me are like, you're doing fine, you'll just keep going. It's a time thing. They're all telling me the same thing. I should probably listen to the people that have already done it. Yeah, so that's been good. I've been getting a lot of positive reinforcement from everyone around me, so that's kind of helped out in the darker quote unquote times.
Come on now, and I hear you. That sales in general. There's going to be those times where it's like, man, we actually got that one across the finish line. That was amazing. And there's other times where it's like, dang, I put so many hours into that and it's falling apart. Mm-hmm. What's going on? And so keeping that positive attitude is like that's like 80% of the journey, right? The hey, knowing what to do next, that comes with time, as you mentioned. Mm-hmm. But that being able to have that impenetrable shield where it's like, hey, no matter what, I'm still going to put a smile on and keep it moving, and the day's going to be okay. That's huge.
Yeah.
What I'm so pumped about for you, though, is that house, man. When you get the first one with all the knowledge that you got on negotiating, like I feel bad for the other realtor on that piece.
I'm excited.
Yeah,
it's going to be fun for me. It's going to be real fun.
Yeah.
For me. No, I'm really excited for the future and what it holds. And to that point too, overall, I'd say like, again, kind of that piece of, hey, stumble, you're going to make it. And also a good thing about it too is some of the deals are easy. And those are ones you're like, hey, it wasn't even that, this was a breeze, And so those are the ones that really give you that lift of, man, real estate, you can really make it. It's easy. It's just all about knowledge. The more you know, the easier it gets. And thankfully, I've been getting that a lot more,
Yeah. Yeah. And one thing I would say, kind of circling back to something you said earlier, is if you, for the audience and those listening, if you're under the age of like 25, 26, it's okay to make mistakes. Like you should go out there and do that. What's not okay is to make the same mistake 5 times in a row, right? Learn from the mistakes. But it's A-okay to make mistakes, and that should happen. Like when I got that first property, I was 24, right? So I was 2 years, removed from where you are right now. And the whole thing I kept telling myself is, hey, if I completely mess this up, I'm nervous. This is the most money I put down. I scraped together everything I had. But even if I completely mess this up, I've got the next 40 years to build a 401k like everybody else and kind of keep going from there. Yeah. And that property led me to the next, which allowed me to get out of the W-2 world eventually.
No, literally. I always say learning how to lose is really important. Thankfully, I learned it early, And I didn't really learn it in real estate. I learned it in basketball. AAU, I was getting beat by these freaks, man. Getting beat 30 points every game. I'm like, we suck,
Hey.
I'm like, hey, I'm having fun with it. So,
come on now.
We were thankfully that helped out a lot.
Absolutely. Another piece that I'm thankful for, kind of circling back to the thing we started this off with, is our team, man. The Acabo Home team has grown tremendously. So for those who may not know or haven't seen it yet, 2 things. One, we got to get team pictures at some point early next year or late, probably early next year. We got to get together and do that piece. Mm-hmm. But the team has grown from a team of 3 early this year to now a team of 7 with a transaction coordinator that's working with us full time. Yep. And so we are off and running. Mm-hmm. And I'm just excited about the different skill sets that everybody brings to the table, from marketing to negotiation to sales skills to being able to do the whole nurture campaign. Like there's a lot going on, and it's exciting.
And one thing I like about our team too is they're real go-getters. Like for instance, with Naira, I was just like, hey, Naira, help me design the newsletter. And she's like, you know what? I'll just do the whole thing, And I'm like, go ahead. You're better than me at it. And so really leveraging everyone's skill set, with Naira being a designer, Eric being data, Nasir being from the military and sales. Like it's kind of a beautiful mesh of everyone comes in with their own thing, so we can kind of just tune and become unstoppables,
Come on now. And it just sharpens everybody's skills, and I'm learning something new every day. Like the Mojo stuff. I'm like, what is that? But after about 3 weeks of reminders, we finally looked into it and
Yeah,
boom, we got it. So it's like, all right, cool.
exactly. Yeah, I'll get you on Mojo back in March.
Yeah, I know. It's been, I was saying 3 months to kind of get myself, but hey, it's cool. If you want to put me on blast, it's all good.
Hey,
It's
better
all
late
good.
than never. Better late than never. We got it, though. We got it.
Yeah.
So I think if we had it that early too, it would have been pointless, because we
Mhm.
wouldn't have had any of the traction. Because now we have a way to actually use it and actually plug it in and kind of use it in plug and play, and it's really nice, I'd say.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I think we're going to be on track to actually hit the goal for the Akaba home team next year, which was to help 136 individuals by the end of 2024.
Yeah.
Right now we're at 59 total, but we've got like 10 potentially that'll happen by the end of the year, which is going to be incredible. So we're going to be well on the way,
Yeah.
and we look forward to coming
How was
to
that
a.
for you?
Mhm.
Because you're the one that really, in the beginning, you kind of started and said, okay, this year I want to do X, Y, Z. And we basically hit all the goals you set by half of the year, pretty much. So were you like, whoa, I shot too low,
Way too
this is
low.
amazing, you're like, this is great. Were you kind
Yeah,
of expecting everyone to come in and be kind of immediately ready? Because me, the way I found you was literally I just texted you out of
yeah.
the blue, So were you like, all right, I think we're gonna be, what was the overall first impressions of everyone? Kind of, were you expecting to be here at this point? Complete shock.
No, I think it's one where it kind of snowballed. It's almost like the whole management of the short-term rentals, right?
Mhm.
That piece was just like, hey, okay, you take one, then you take another, and it's like, all right, let's get going. But for the team, this has been the most exciting for me because I still get joy from going and chasing down deals, but honestly, I get more joy from seeing like you do it, like and others. I'm like, dude, this is incredible. Like, I'm fist pumping, at the finish line with you. Like, hey, let's get it.
Yeah,
Like this is cool.
yeah.
And so no, not in my wildest dreams that I think we would be at this point that we are right now. I think that you've been an incredible piece of that, accelerating and kind of pushing me further, saying, hey, man, what's next? What's next? Let's get moving.
Yeah.
Right. And then having, the Ericas of the world that kind of keep the team, together and kind of,
The glue.
the nurture piece. Right.
100%.
And then even the other individuals that you knew that you brought on, and then other individuals that we've helped out throughout the years, right, that have wanted to come, and there's still more that are knocking on the door, right? And so I would say, like, for those who are like, because I actually talked to an individual that's based out of Florida. He's one of my guys. I invited him on with EXP, and he's a realtor. And he was talking to me like, hey, I'm thinking about starting a team. And I'm like, okay, how many deals have you closed? Right. And there was like silence. I'm like, hey, the first thing you need to do is start closing deals, right? And then start building the team so you can help the team and be the rainmaker to bring in deals to help everybody, right? Because it doesn't work like that.
100%. Yeah.
And so I'd just say, man, you just take it one step at a time. You don't need to see the whole rung. You just need to see the next step, and don't say no to opportunities. Because I remember back then you were like, hey, can we take another team member? I said, heck yes.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Now, in mine, it's like, okay, how are we going to actually train this team member and get them up and running? But we'll figure that piece out. Let's bring them on. If they're solid, we'll figure that out.
Yeah. No. 100%.
Yeah. But this is an open session. For those that are in the audience, please feel free to jump in and or drop any questions in the chat. This is going to be the last one that we have before Thanksgiving. And that's going to be a little bit more sporadic in December, right? With the holidays, things of that nature. Yeah. But starting next year, we're going to kick it right back off with some more guests. I got some people lined up, some new individuals I've met. And Liban, on a complete side note, if you meet some individuals that are interesting that you want to bring on, feel free.
I have some people in mind, of course,
Yeah. Fair enough.
Yep. I got you.
Fair enough. But any questions, anybody from the chat have anything on this Wednesday? I think everybody's getting out of town early, man.
Yeah, no, hey, it's the Thanksgiving. What are your Thanksgiving plans?
Oh, man. So I'm actually heading to Nashville to go visit with Mama Dukes. And you just reminded me, I need to actually look at flights potentially. And then if the flights are too crazy, I'm just going to drive, right? It's not a bad drive. It's like 3.5, 4 hours, something like that. But if they have those special flights where it's like $100 a flight, I will do that. But if it's 500, 600, I will drive it.
Yeah. I almost, speaking of those flight deals, My friend texted in our group chat. He was like, "Yeah, yo, Spirit's doing deals," and they were doing uh, the like flights to the DR for like $200 round trip. And I was like, I don't know if I trust that plane. You
I
know,
don't trust. As soon as you said Spirit, I knew I
yeah,
didn't
I might
trust
not land. You know, I might not make it there. So I was like, I don't think I'll pass on this one. But I see we have a question here. What are some of the biggest financial lessons you have learned this month?
Hmm. This month. Okay, that's highly specific. So this month is only halfway over,
Mhm.
right? I'd say the biggest thing I've learned, right, is to stick to your systems, right? And tweak your systems. And so one thing I recently started doing over the last 4 weeks, I wouldn't just say this month,
Mhm.
is tweaking my splits, right? I think we talked about the profit first thing a while ago, and I'd highly recommend that, Liban, if you're not doing that yet.
Yeah.
But the profit first thing where I have any dollar that comes in, it gets split 6 ways. And I'm looking at my little split thing right here, right? Like I split it kind of all over. I keep a diagram and know exactly what's going on. So X percent goes to tax, X percent goes to tithing, X percent goes to profit, family, the operating account, and then a couple investment accounts that I'm working on for Louisville. And so that's huge. It keeps you disciplined and it allows you, and I also have a profit slash fun account, right? That takes X percent to make sure that you can still spend and have fun and that you're working towards something, but you don't overdo it, right? Because it's very easy to do that. So that's one piece. The other piece is it's good to start tracking your net worth, right? Whether you're using just the Mint app or as you start to acquire real estate, you start putting together a spreadsheet. I think it's huge because what you focus on tends to grow. And now that I'm back in the habit of doing it, in the middle of each month, I just update the tracker, and it's incredible to see how much growth you can have just in 1 month of focusing.
Yeah.
Liban, what about you? What are some of the
Um,
biggest financial lessons you've learned? I'll give you over the last couple months.
yeah. So for me, it's really been don't count your egg until it has hatched, because there's been a couple of times where we get under contract and I'm like, ooh, and then we got to terminate because X, Y, and Z. So really just taking out the emotion with the money, because a lot of people, they're so closely linked, but kind of I overall try to be as logical and kind of say, okay, I'm getting, especially now that I'm also doing, a lot more construction work with this business, that piece, I'll go out, give a bid. I think I got the job. We don't. So that's another thing too. I just got to overall don't get too high, don't get too low based upon how we're doing overall, and don't expect it until it hits the account, you know, that I,
Agreed.
yeah, because that's what I first started noticing myself doing. I'd get super hyped, and if I lost it, I get super low. So that's overall one of the big ones.
Dude, and that takes time to get used
Yeah.
to. One of the things I used to say when I was at Baxter, and this was because we were working on like the deal that we closed, the big deal was like a $25 million once in a lifetime capital equipment deal, right?
Mhm.
And it was 18 months of work. You literally get nothing for 18 months. You're waking up early, you're driving to all these hospitals. It was a it was such a blur for the first 6 months because we're doing all this stuff. It was like a lot going on. But
Mhm.
long story short, we got to the end and it's down between us and one other team, and they're delaying, they're not telling us the answer. It's almost like when you submit an offer and they're like, we got multiple offers, and they won't tell you like, hey, did we get this thing or what? And so I remember my manager asked me, and then another individual asked me that I highly respect, and they're like, man, Nee, how do you feel? Are you nervous? Things of that nature. I was like, honestly, no, because all you can control is what you can control, and that's what you should focus on. What I can control is putting my best foot forward, right, each day. And that's all you can control. Hey, I did everything I could to make sure we can get through on this piece. And then you let the results fall where they may. Taking an SAT, right? The work and the worry and all that stuff should be beforehand. You should be working as hard as you can, trying to prepare for it. Go take the SAT. After you've taken it, the results are in. Don't just, forget about that piece. It's going to come out. You can't control it. No need to worry about it. The control was what you put into it in the beginning.
Awesome. Yeah. See, when I took
Kareem, what about you, man? This is a pretty good question in the chat here. What is a big financial lesson that you learned this year?
Diversify your investments.
Mm,
Always don't go put all your eggs in one basket.
mm,
Uh, I had some money last year. I invested that money. I went 50-50 between Amazon and real estate. Uh, the Amazon business didn't work out exactly how I envisioned it would, uh, but I did learn some skills. The real estate business, though, is okay. It's still has survived. Uh, it has
Real estate,
survived.
that's good. That's good.
Otherwise, yeah, I would have been in a much worse financial spot right now if I would have, for example, went just with Amazon. But I made the
Mm,
conscious decision instead of going all in into like one path to split it up because it's a discovery journey anyway. So I made the decision to discover two paths instead of one.
I like it. I like it. That's wise words, man.
And I know I asked Nee this question, but now you're here, Kareem. What has been your favorite deal that, since you brought it up in real estate, that you've done this year?
I haven't done deals, so I just have that one property at the time at the moment, and I'm doing the short term uh, rental gig, short and midterm. But my next venture will most likely be into the arbitrage piece. I'm just trying to study it more and trying to figure out how to pinpoint winner properties and how to at the same time widen the search to include out of state as well as in state. So these are my this is what I'm doing now and what I'm planning on doing in the future.
Okay. So favorite to come. Favorite to come. I love it.
Come on now. And kind of following up on a conversation we had, Kareem, were you able to get that midterm or long term person in? Whatever happened with that?
They uh, they weren't very transparent with their income piece. I asked for proof of income, like current income, and all they submitted was the tax returns of 2022. So it doesn't show me what, and the number on the tax return is not what they said they were making now. So there's definitely a discrepancy. I'm like, it's showing like you were making more. Can you show any paper trail to corroborate, what you're saying that
The
you're
tax
making?
return.
And she didn't have anything.
Yeah, at that point, red flags. Because
Yeah.
the cool thing about long term rentals is once you get somebody in that you vetted, it's set it and forget it, right? They're in there, they don't want to really be bothered, and it's just the checks coming every month. But if there's an issue, even though we're in a landlord friendly state, you still got to go through the headache of I got to evict this person. There's no money coming in. Did they damage the place? All this stuff. So it's yeah, you gotta really go through that process a vet.
Yeah, yeah. I'm extra rigorous, especially with a furnished piece. If it was just like wall and paint, then it would have been a little easier. But you actually have like invested in furniture and stuff like that, so I would
Mm.
be more careful.
Absolutely. What else you got, man? Anything that you're working on right now?
Um, Still discovering. Still, like I said, still unpacking the arbitrage business, trying to figure it out. I did discover something that you might benefit from, though. There's this guy on social media. His name is Preston CEO. Preston SEO. He has one of these like arbitrage courses or whatever. But the nugget is he's offering the annual subscription to AirDNA for like $2,000, like 20, like a little under 3,000. Buy his course. His course is like I don't know, $2,000. So you pay him his $2,000 for his course, and you get the discounted rate from AirDNA, and that just saves you like I don't know, $8,000, $10,000 a year.
And when you say discount, you mean like the one that's global, like the global Air DNA?
Yeah, 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 yeah. The full
Oh,
pro,
okay.
the top notch. Yeah, the full service.
On a complete side note, we got to get into the software business. Air DNA is charging people 10K for the global. And I don't know how many people are using it. Yeah, yeah. We paid like I think we paid like I don't know two,
What?
3 or 4 grand for like we paid a good amount. We pay a lot of money for just the state, and the global one is like a lot more.
Oh wow, that data man.
Yeah, yeah. And I just started
For
paying.
free for this. Oh my god! Like,
Yeah, and I just started paying recently for the updated Chat GBT, and it's truly worth. It's like $20 a month. It's crazy. Like it's crazy what type of info you can pull on here. Um, Fun side note: it helped me write the story behind the newsletter that's coming out, which everybody will see here soon. But yeah, it's pretty incredible. We are moving into the space age,
yeah,
and I'm excited about it.
no, 100%.
I was thinking about a business idea also in the same space need. Like no one's really offering maintenance like monthly subscription maintenance services similar to the cleaning services, where essentially you would have like a maintenance team on retainer, and you would sell like the scope would be like a certain amount of hours that that they're guaranteed to have. Like you're guaranteed 10 hours a month, for example, right? Anything above that you don't have to pay extra, but you don't have to source, you don't have to like look. This is good for like the newer people who are coming into the business and they don't have that layer of support, they don't have like that thing, and it would be packaged the same way like the cleaning business is packaged.
So it's funny you mentioned that because I don't know if Nee has made you aware, I'm partnered up in a kind of remodeling company, and one of our clients, that's basically what we do. They run a bunch of Airbnbs all around the city, and as guests are coming in and out, she basically just says, "Hey, they dinged this, they dinged that. Can you come in and fix it?" And we'll be like, "Yeah, sure. You have the spackle, you have the blah blah blah, and we'll just come in and $200, go in there, da 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 da, knock it out." So I never thought about it as like a recurring service because, to your
Like
point,
an
this would be
insurance
something that,
company. Think
yeah,
about it.
exactly,
Yeah.
exactly. You're kind of saying, hey, for X amount of dollars, I'll come in and basically do punch list items for you, and that would be good because the crews get consistent work. They're able to feed themselves. They know, hey, I'm going to have this amount. And the landlords, to your point, get consistent quality of work. So that's something I didn't even think about as a kind of advertised service. But you're right, there is a big need for that already.
I
I
searched
love it.
and I couldn't find anything.
The piece that I think about is just you got to have scale, right? So
Yeah.
we that's literally the model that we had. And I think you'll remember some of the maintenance managers that we had in the past, Kareem. They were full time on the team, and we'd give them X% of what we brought in as a management company to make sure that they prioritized us and they lowered their fees. So typically, a maintenance person can charge you anywhere from 45 to like 75 an hour. We had ours at 45 an hour, and they did some things free, like changing out batteries, locks, stuff like that, right? And filters and things of that nature on our behalf, because we were giving them that X% and taking out trash, right? Because we were giving them that X%. And so it works. I would almost want to have it. Uh, I'd almost want to look at what the property's bringing in and then base it off a percentage of that income, if that makes any sense, right? Like, hey, X% each month of your income, right? So we can just link it as another co-host on Airbnb, and hey, 5%, 6%, 7%, whatever you bring in is going to come, and I'm going to go and take care of everything. I think that'd be pretty cool. I don't know if
Yeah.
I would want to personally manage that, but if you want to, I think that'd be pretty cool.
Yeah. And I think the scaling part is really the hardest part because then as you grow, you're going to have limited amount of time, limited amount of people, and then there's already kind of a labor shortage in general in kind of the construction remodeling world already. So to that point, keeping the price low enough to where it's still reasonable for the investor, but high enough to where the guys are still getting paid is really that delicate balance that you got to find. Because
Yeah,
these guys
well, you'll have to build.
crazy money.
You'd have to build like your Rolodex
Mm-hmm.
of
Handyman.
contractors and
Mhm.
suppliers, and have deals with like the local shops and stuff like that. You have to build like a solid network of these guys, and you have to also invest in a system like Hospitable, for example, where like you can send out messages automatically, because I'm pretty sure that like that's how they do it, like on the back end. They have like a bunch of freelancers running around, and then they send out the ticket, they blast it. um, they probably have priorities, like it goes like to like a prioritized list first. If they don't respond within a certain time, it goes to like the next list. um, but yeah, essentially this is how you do it. It's a lot of work. Like it's a lot of work. It's not easy.
At that point, you might as well just manage the whole property, man. Like, because you can just make a lot more
Yeah.
and have kind of individuals. I can tell you that the way you just described it is kind of what we're doing now. We went away from the model that we had before because we kept losing maintenance folks. To Liban's point, it's hard to keep people in that role because it's not a whole lot of money when you think about it. And so we just moved to, hey, let's do away with the percentage, just make it a flat fee per hour, right? And we don't depend on one person. We have a whole Rolodex, and I have an operations manager that we pay now, right? The operations manager is the one that manages the Rolodex, and we use a software called Asana to determine the priority. And so we have all the properties laid out. Believe me, it looks kind of crazy, but they're all laid out. They all have these little tasks underneath them. And anytime we have a task, we have either our guest experience manager, which is the VAs, we'll plug it into Asana and tag our operations manager in it and put like a priority level. Or if I get something from an owner, like, hey, here goes a checklist that we want to take care of. Okay, I'll plug it in there, put the priority, and then she kind of coordinates with the maintenance folks. She'll call this person first because that's our preferred, and then go down the list if they don't answer.
Yeah, totally. What you're kind of speaking about kind of brought up a question, because I know you're big into the automation. Do you use for Airbnb an automation like tool to figure out pricing?
Me personally.
Yes. So
Which one?
go ahead, Kareem.
Oh, sorry. I just followed Nee's advice. I think. What do you use? Knee Beyond?
Yep, Beyond
Suggested Beyond, and well, the other one is the one I use. It's called Price Lab.
Price Labs.
Price
Yep,
Lab. Yeah,
Price
because I heard
Labs.
about
That's the
three:
one I use.
Price Lab, Wheelhouse, and Beyond Pricing.
Wheelhouse. Yep, Wheelhouse. I heard was pretty good too.
Yeah.
I just used Beyond because that was the first one that I heard about, and I was like, okay, and it linked into Hospitable, so I was like, all right, we'll do this. But all of them work pretty similarly, from what I hear.
Okay. And have you guys heard of Hello Landing?
Hello Landing. No.
Oh, so I was at a meetup, the one I host with Farley, and one of the people there essentially told us about it. He works for the company, and it's essentially like rent by the room model,
Mm.
but like from my understanding, they might be like essentially they pay a monthly fee, I think. I don't know if it was this website, but this one it's basically rent by the room model, right? Kind of like pad split, but more short term rent by the room. And then of course these are all furnished properties. You check in, check out. So that might be another one. And here I can actually drop the
How do
website
they manage
in the
the
chat.
cleaning though?
Yeah, that'd be tough.
I don't know that I have no
Because
idea.
there's got to be like a shared. There's the kitchen, so they're sharing the kitchen. They're sharing a living room. They're sharing maybe a bathroom, like in the main, the main living room bathroom or something. So someone checks out, the cleaning team has to come in and clean while other guests are occupying the property.
Yeah, so I think the way their model works is you pay a monthly fee, let's say 1,500 a month, and then you have access to all of their like listed proper rooms, right? So then if they stay with you, you'd get X% of that. I think because they can stay for as long as they want. They can stay for a day or a month. So here I just dropped it in the chat for you guys to take a look at.
Hello Landing. Yeah, we'll
Yeah,
definitely take a look.
yeah.
I haven't heard of it, but it sounds interesting.
Yeah, I don't even know what their model is. I literally just found out about it on Sunday. This
Are they a platform like Airbnb?
Yeah, they're a platform.
No.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, they're a platform. Yep.
Hmm.
Yep. Exactly.
Speaking of platforms, at the Bigger Pockets conference, there was like a midterm rental summit, and Ziana McIntyre and another lady were up there talking about some of the platforms they list on. And so Furnish Finder is the one everybody hears about, but there's like 8 other platforms that they list on. I have the list somewhere, and when I actually have some time, I'm going to be uploading all the properties on there to see if we can't get some more traction there for the longer terms, because those are incredible when you can get a midterm renter for a fully furnished.
Yeah.
But like there's so many ways. There's so many new softwares coming out to try and disrupt the market. I can tell you that one that I need to get on. I just got to find the time. Is this one called Hopper? They've called consistently for like months. I finally hopped on the line with them, and they're like, I'm like, hey, can you guys convert all this? They're like, hey, yes, but you're gonna have to do this, that, and the other. I'm like, all right, let me wait until we have some downtime for this. But have you heard of Hopper?
No, I've never heard of Hopper.
Kareem, have they called you?
Yeah, they've been harassing me for about a month, and then I was like, all right, fine. See what you could do against Airbnb. Good luck to you.
Yeah.
I did
it's tough.
sign up. I did have like I created the account or whatever, but I haven't had like a single booking like in the last maybe 3 months or so.
Okay. How hard was it to actually sign up? Because in my mind, it's like, man, it's going to take forever. But how long was that?
No, they half an hour on the phone.
Okay.
Yeah, they walked me step by
Okay.
step and just got it done like in one call.
Okay.
Okay.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
Anybody in the chat? We are coming toward the end of the call. Any questions? Anything that is top of mind or a concern? That's fair. Kareem, if we don't talk before then, wishing you a happy Thanksgiving. Liban, I know we're going to talk. I'll probably talk to you tomorrow.
I'm literally going to see you tomorrow.
Yeah, but happy Thanksgiving to the rest of the Akaba Home group too. And I look forward to seeing you guys first week of December.
Thank you, guys.
Sir.
All right, y'all. Be safe.
Good night. Take care.